Hey everyone, and welcome to our first ever Facebook Live, would you believe? So my name's Noling and I manage the complaints team in the Consumer Council.
My name is Ronan, I manage the education team, and the Consumer Council takes complaints in water, energy, transport, post and private parking as well.
Okay, so whilst we're waiting on people to join today, I just thought it'd be really good to kind of give you a bit of insight as to why we're hanging out on Facebook this morning. So obviously because of COVID and we've obviously had a real increase in contacts, telephone calls, emails. We thought it would be a good idea to share with our followers some of the big issues that we're getting contacted about. And throughout the time whilst we're live, feel free to leave a comment or leave a question in the box, and we'll certainly try our best to answer it. So we'll just give it a few seconds for a few more people to join, and then if you're happy, we can kick off.
No, what's the biggest complaint you're getting now with your colleagues?
Definitely airline contacts. The travel industry has obviously been greatly impacted by COVID-19, so to be totally honest, from March we have been completely inundated. We've seen a 500% increase in the number of contacts we're getting just regarding airlines alone. So, some of the big issues that people are having is getting refunds back, first and foremost. And that's not just from airlines, but also package holidays. So we've actually done a YouTube video on this. It's on the Consumer Council YouTube channel, and we'll put a link on it below so people can watch it after. So in that YouTube video we covered lots of different questions that we get from consumers, so hopefully it will help you or someone you know who's having difficulty. But I suppose just the overarching thing is that if your flight is cancelled, you are entitled to a refund, first and foremost. But the questions that we're kind of getting now have kind of moved away from refunds and are moving on to things like quarantine rules. So what happens if I have a flight booked and the place where I'm going to, I have to quarantine when I come back? What I would say is don't leave it to the last minute to find out what you have, what options are available. Some airlines had previously been offered vouchers in that instance, but a lot of them aren't now, unfortunately. So just at a time when we kind of need airlines to be sympathetic to people, we're finding that it's not the case. So if you have a flight coming up and you have to quarantine on the way back, but obviously can't, and don't intend to travel, don't assume you're going to get a refund, because you won't. Unless that flight's been cancelled, you will not get a refund. What you need to do is contact your airline, go on to manage my bookings, contact them by phone, check out the website and see what options are available to you. A lot of the airlines are offering the chance to reschedule your flights free of charge, but there is a time limit on some of these, so definitely do not leave it last minute. We've had people contact us because they left it last minute and their flight has been and gone. They didn't turn up for their flight and they weren't entitled to anything. They've lost that money. The only thing they can get back is the government taxes. So it's just about being prepared and thinking ahead. Don't leave it to a week before you travel. Kind of have a look at the website, give us a ring if you need any help. Our free phone number is 0800 121 6022, or you can contact us via email at contact@consumercouncil.org.uk.
And knowing how much money have you helped consumers, if you have a figure there?
Yeah, no, we do. So remarkably, since the 1st of March alone, we have got back over £700,000 for consumers, and that's just in airline refunds. To be totally honest, we're actually a really small team. There's literally only 5 or 6 of us. We've actually had to pull in other team members to help us deal with the complaints. It has been a massive topic, and it doesn't show any signs of getting any easier for consumers. And who knows, coming into January next year, I can't see things coming back to normal. I think this is going to continue to be a bit of a trend. But just think twice about booking flights. If you're planning a holiday, just make sure that that things are fluid, things are changing, and what an airline is offering you now might not necessarily be the case.
Just to add, I find that the websites, the airlines are changing so much. We're not getting a voucher, they take away the option for a refund, they don't have a contact number.
No, you're right, and we actually have on our COVID-19 website, that's one thing we've been working really hard on, is making sure the information we have on the website is up to date, because literally from one day to the next it is changing. And it's only consumers ringing us and sometimes giving us information that we actually become aware of, a change that an airline has made. So yeah, definitely keep an eye on the website, and if you have any queries, to give us a call. Just in relation to package holidays, so we wouldn't ordinarily deal with package holidays. It's more airlines, but if you basically booked a package holiday and it's cancelled, under the package travel regulations, you're entitled to a full refund. Now, Trading Standards basically has the responsibility of enforcing this in Northern Ireland, so it would be worthwhile giving them a call. Their number is 0300 123 6262, and the guys will put that number on the comments box below if you need to contact them. But Ronan, this is definitely one of your forte topics, but so if people are struggling to get money back, they've been jumping through all sorts of hoops and aren't getting anywhere, is there any other avenue they can go down to get their money back?
Yes, actually, I took a call this morning from a consumer I've talked to in the past, and he paid £9,000 for a package holiday, and he's actually been waiting 4 months to get his money back. It's a huge sum of money, and has been told, oh, you'll get your money within 2 weeks. Oh no, unfortunately it's now going to be 100 days, and that has passed. And the gentleman didn't know what to do, and what I have advised him to do, and I always ask, how do you pay by credit card or do you pay by debit card? If you pay by credit card, if it's over a single line over £100, under the Consumer Credit Act, Section 75, your credit card is joint liability. So in instances like this, and what I refer to gentlemen, is to contact your credit card company and explain the situation. So Section 75 is if the product doesn't turn up, if something goes wrong or the company goes bust, your credit card company is liable. But as well as that, even if you pay by debit cards, you also have rights as well. And again, what we have found is that people aren't aware of their rights if they pay by debit card, and it is actually anything over £100, and the rules apply. So bonding schemes that most financial institutions have signed up for. And we have a brochure called Safer Ways to Pay, which you can actually give us a ring on 0800 121 6022, and again it's going to be a link. And or email us contact@consumercouncil.org.uk, and we will post you out a copy. And it's page 2 and 3 that explains your rights under the Consumer Credit Act. You pay by credit card, and then if you get charged by scheme, paying by debit card. We also have some quizzes on our website as well, which just you can test your consumer rights on, and it is one of the questions which has come out of where people have lack of knowledge in terms of paying, so it is definitely one to consider.
Yeah, I know even from speaking to consumers, certainly when they come through to us, and even more so in terms of the package holidays that we can't necessarily assist with, we have been telling people about Section 75, and there's been a large number of consumers who have had real success with that. What I would say with Section 75 is that you don't have to leave it until you've exhausted one avenue. Certainly contact your credit card company or your bank alongside trying to get the money off the airline. And maybe just one other thing to caveat is that we've actually been hearing about some banks who ordinarily your Section 75 request would be upheld, but they're actually declining it because of huge numbers. Now, if you find yourself in that situation where your bank have just came back and said no, what I would say is contact the Financial Ombudsman Service. They regulate the financial services across the UK, and your bank shouldn't be doing that. So take your complaint further and escalate it. Don't let it stop there. Take the action that you need to.
And so it's all about consumers really empowering themselves. If you're aware of your rights, then you're more likely to actually complain forcibly and to get your money back. And it's large sums of money, whether it's for flights or whether it's for you saved all year for your holiday, and now you're faced with this barrier where you're actually getting nowhere maybe with the travel agent, you're getting nowhere trying to get through to telephone calls. And so it is like, right, what other avenues do I have as a consumer? Yeah,
brilliant. Okay, so one of the other hot topics that we've been getting a lot of phone calls and a lot of emails about is private parking charges. Now, these kind of petered off, I suppose, whilst everybody was in lockdown, nobody was travelling about, but we've certainly noticed since June and since the lockdown restrictions eased that we've seen a huge increase in these again. So in terms of private parking charges, what people need to realise and understand is that the legislation here in Northern Ireland is different than in England and Wales. So we have a fact sheet on our website along with top tips on how to avoid parking charge notices. So go onto the website and you'll be able to find this. The guys will put a link again at the bottom of the comments box. And if you need a copy sent out to you, there's no problem at all. Just give us a call or drop us an email, we can get that sent out to you. So the big thing with parking charge is basically if you park in a private car park, so you go to a retail park like Boucher, you go to a shopping centre like Fireside, a lot of these car parks now will have time stipulations, so you're only allowed to stay for example, maybe 3 hours or 4 hours. So as soon as you enter that car park, you're entering into the terms and conditions of that car park. There are cameras on the way in which will basically take a photograph of your registration, and then when you leave it takes another picture and it basically calculates the length of time you've been in the car park. So if you've overstayed the time stipulation by more than 10 minutes, believe you me, you'll have a parking charge notice sent to you in the post. So rule number 1, if you do get a parking charge notice, do not ignore it. Now, I know all over the internet, different forums, you will say ignore. We would say, please do not ignore it. If you get a parking charge notice, contact the Consumer Council. We have dealt with thousands of these since 2017, and last year we successfully appealed over £270,000 worth in parking charge notices. So don't bury your head in the sand. Don't put it in the back of the drawer and think, oh, I'll worry about it later or nothing's going to happen, because that isn't the case. These parking companies are getting more ruthless.
The letters are very threatening as well.
They are. The letters are extremely threatening. One particular parking company is actually taking people to small claims court, and the court has ruled in favour of the parking company. So the other thing to look out for is you basically have 28 days to appeal. So if you wait after the 28 days, then your appeal will not be accepted, and that also counts for if you come to the Consumer Council after the 28 days. The companies are really clamping down on it. So rule of thumb, get a PCN, contact us. Don't make contact with the company who sent it. Contact us straight away and we can certainly help you appeal it. If you have contacted the company, then obviously it kind of reduces our ability to help you. The thing is that you don't make contact or tell them who was driving. But look, if you do find yourself in that situation, give our phone number a call, send us an email, and we can certainly give you advice on what your next steps are.
I took a call from someone who was 4 hours and 19 seconds, and I mean those are extenuating circumstances. And obviously we have appealed it with the private car park company. Is clamping, does it exist in Northern Ireland?
It does, yeah. So Northern Ireland is actually the only part of the UK where clamping is still legal, and it all comes down to this piece of legislation that we don't have called the Protection of Freedoms Act. So with clamping, what we were finding last year was one parking company in particular. So if you had 3 PCNs or more outstanding that you hadn't paid or you'd ignored, they basically were clamping you. If that happens, you will have a clamping fee to pay to get the clamp removed, and you'll also have to pay the outstanding PCNs. So it's just, again, that message of, don't ignore them. If you get one, contact us straight away and we can deal with it and avoid that happening. So we have actually a question coming in there just regards to if you've paid the parking charge. So if you have paid the parking charge, unfortunately, no, you can't appeal it. The rules are basically pay or appeal. You can't do both. So unfortunately, if you've already paid the charge, there's no further action can be taken on it. And I guess it's just learning from your mistakes. The whole thing that we're trying to get out there is an education piece. We don't want people to be getting parking charge notices, which is why we would say go onto our website, check out the fact sheet, check out the top tips. Especially run up to Christmas now when more of us will be out in retail parks and shopping centres. Just be aware of it, and simple things like maybe putting an alarm on your phone if you're going in. Set it to ring an alarm in like 2-3 hours. Just to remind you. Exactly. TK Maxx. We've all been at TK Maxx and went in for one thing and ended up spending 4 hours in it. So
people go into a state of panic when they get a private parking notice. And as you said, the rule of thumb is please contact first of all. Yeah. Before you do anything else, just give us a ring or a free phone number.
Definitely. I think it was last Christmas we had seen a huge influx because Foresight had just actually started managing their car park, and honestly we were being contacted by a lot of elderly consumers, vulnerable consumers, who had received these parking charge notices and were really anxious and quite upset. Had maybe never had a debt in their life, and suddenly we're getting letters in the post threatening legal action. So it is a big deal for people, but it's just you're not alone. Contact us, we'll help you. As I said, free phone number 0800 121 6022 and the email address contact@consumercouncil.org.uk.
Actually, is we're all shopping online more than ever, especially since March, and I think really people need to be aware of how to shop safely online. And we've used some top tips for you. We'd always say yes on the browser bar along with the padlock symbol before you enter your payments. Never actually leave a site if someone could private message and say, oh, we've got a great bargain to offer you, I'll give you 50 quid off. But if you leave a private site, you may be transferring money from my bank account into their bank account and the product doesn't turn up. And always read reviews. Do you read reviews a lot?
I do, yeah. I love shopping and just obviously reading reviews to find out if the site's legit.
Well, that's it, because there's a lot of fake websites selling fake goods, and maybe it's coming up to Christmas, we're almost start shopping now, and you see the word bargain, or maybe an email drops in or a text message, and think, oh, this is great. So we would actually say, don't respond to links either in emails or text messages where you don't know the source, and where we get carried away by, oh, this is great, I can save myself a bit of money. We actually have a brochure safer way, or sorry, it's actually called Shopping Safely Online. And again, it gives you some top tips. There's also information about posts and parcels as well. And again, it's their number 0800 121 6022, or even just email us contact@consumercouncil.org.uk. And it's always just something to have. And maybe you're shopping online for the first time, maybe that because of the current restrictions, and it's just a good one to have. And again, those top tips, it just leads into being scam aware as well.
Yeah, well actually funny you mentioned scams, because that's actually something that we've been receiving a lot of calls and inquiries about, certainly over the pandemic. I think, as you said, because people probably are just shopping online a bit more. But Ronan, would you have any kind of tips to give people if they think maybe that they have been scammed, or what would you suggest they do?
I mean, it's frightening actually at this time that people are using COVID to scam people. You have scams relating to shopping online. I've just mentioned checking reviews, don't leave websites, HTTPS and the padlock. But actually, believe it or not, where people are getting text messages, and that would actually be where maybe you've been seen outside and you're going to be fined, or maybe you get an email from HMRC, you owe tax. Mm-hmm. And again, like with car parking, where maybe someone has never have actually ever been got a parking fine before, they owe money to the taxman, and we go into the state of panic.
Yeah.
So the likes of the HMRC are not going to contact by text message or by email and threaten you to say you owe money, and that's also where you'll be seen outside, you're due a fine. And just ignore those emails, ignore those texts or any of those links in social media.
Of course, like though a lot of them are actually telephone based. I know certainly we've been contacted by people, and I've seen a lot on social media about they've been contacted by
Amazon could be one, and
but more recently about the COVID-19. So people have been contacted to say that they were in contact with somebody and they need to purchase a test, and then they're basically trying to obtain the bank details, and a lot of people have been caught out with this, because the thing is they're so sophisticated and they're so legit and they sound genuine. So I guess it's just being aware and thinking twice before giving bank details.
Yeah,
you never do that.
I get a lot of these at home now. I get a lot of these automated calls. The internet is down.
Yeah. Or you've been in an accident.
Yeah, you've been in an accident. Or maybe Amazon as well. But this has been a great opportunity for us to engage with consumers. Thank you very much for the questions posed.
Yeah, it's to be honest, it's our first Facebook Live, so they were a bit nervous, and it's all a bit daunting, but this is the type of thing that we would ideally like to do more of. So maybe if there's a particular topic that you would like us to do a Facebook Live on, or if you have any questions or complaints, as I said, just drop us a call 0800 121 6022, or via our website at contact@consumercouncil.org.uk. Well, thanks so much for joining us, folks.
Thanks very much.
And yeah, we'll hope to see you soon, and stay safe.
Have a weekend. Take care. Thank you.
Bye.